Today is Monday, November the 12th, 2018. Hello, and welcome to the New Moon Monthly Report for the second quarter, November 15 to 22, 2018. This is the second part of the monthly report, which is kind of still in the experimental stages. But what's going to happen is, over the course of the next week, I'm going to release the entire month, so that way it'll be a real monthly report. It just took about a week to get out. So this covers the time from the first quarter until the full moon. So it includes all of Thanksgiving Day, which we'll be having the full moon on that day. So this week, we have just one planetary aspect, and that's Mars squared Jupiter on Monday the 19th, which will feel really good. It's a great aspect. Overall aspects indicate a pleasant week ahead that we should be using to stay the course and continue to focus on the things we need to do in this new Jupiter cycle. So there's no major aspect challenges this quarter. Hopefully that means that we can all have a great time on Thanksgiving, which will have the only long moon void of course this quarter. So that'll be from 2 a.m. Thanksgiving morning until 8 p.m. in the evening, followed by the full moon at 9:30. And a little bit of catching up on some of the things I've talked about in my other videos. It looks like we had that surprise precise adjustment to the judicial system I was talking about, coincidental with the Jupiter quincunx Uranus on November the 7th. And that was the removal of Jeff Sessions, and appointment of the interim AG Whitaker. Now, this new guy, Whitaker, is supposed to take the evidence that Sessions gathered and go forward with the indictments. We'll see. That was a major event, and it'll clear the way for the next step in the takedown of the deep state. We're all hoping. And as I also mentioned in my report, the false flag did occur. It was here in California, the town of Paradise, in a major fire, and it was clearly the result of the direct energy weapons. And I want to show you some things. I'll leave one really good link, and this is kind of a little rabbit hole, kind of jumping down one here really quickly, but something we should all become more aware of. And you can look at this fire and look how odd it is. I mean, here you've got this really healthy tree, and most of the house looks like it's not even caught on fire yet, and yet the inside of this section is an inferno. Well, that's the result of a direct energy weapon, not a regular fire. And you could see, you know, the other trees and the car, they're just fine. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So that's the kind of thing that's happening up in the town of Paradise. They've lost thousands of homes. I think like 9 people have died. It's really bad, and that was definitely the false flag that occurred coincidental with that quincunx. In addition, I talked about massive voter fraud and vote ringing and all that sort of stuff. You know, ballot box stuffing and destruction of ballots they didn't like. It happened in massive amounts during the midterms, and I'm going to leave some links about that. And once again, please do your own research. So, back to the astrology. And you may have noticed this week, some of my descriptions are a little bit longer. I'm getting into doing things with a little bit more detail, and I'm hoping that this might catch your interest a little bit more. So this week we got Mercury going retrograde. It's going to have political implications. As Mercury stations back over the Sun and Jupiter, it will bring a reconsideration of the events surrounding the midterm, the vote ringing, and the challenges to the results, but mainly just more focus on the issue of justice and principle. And sometimes it seems retrograde acts like a magnifying glass in the midday sun that stays on the same spot long enough to start a fire, so the issue is addressed. With Sun, Jupiter, and Mercury all in the same spot, you know, that's going to start a fire around 3 degrees of Sagittarius from November 25th through the 27th. And I'm just kind of getting folks ready for that. It's not happening this quarter. It'll be the third quarter. But this is really going to be the big week when all of the political aspects are happening. So I will go into that more next week. But this week, it looks like aspects indicate a generally relaxing week as we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. And before I get in with the aspects, I just want to let folks know that I am a practicing astrologer, and if you're interested in getting a reading from me, please contact me at mobilestar7@yahoo.com or through my weblog or my website. I'll leave links in the description. I'm also available for long-distance Reiki healings, guided meditation, and psychic readings. And this month, introducing mini readings for $35 only. Phone consultations lasting 1 hour to discuss your natal chart and your transits. That might be something that a lot of folks who maybe didn't want to do a full reading or they weren't sure about it, just send me an email. We'll set up a time. You call me on the phone, and I have found these little readings very fruitful. Starting to do them on a regular basis with people, like once a month with certain people, and it's working out really well, and I'm interested in doing more of that. So here's a summary of the second quarter, and I will leave all of that in the description. And let's start out with the first quarter moon. It's going to be happening on the morning of Thursday the 15th. And once again, these times are all Pacific Standard Time. And we've got the first quarter moon from Aquarius to Scorpio. A struggle for fulfillment as we lay the foundation for this month's growth. We're more sensitive this morning and in need of reassurance. Existing tensions at home or in relationships come to the surface. In these signs, you may feel inner conflict with your group or with your friends. Therefore, privileged information needs to be kept in trust, or it could ruin a friendship or cause you to lose an associate. As well, be cautious of others keeping secrets from you. And then moving on later in the morning, we've got the very pleasant Moon trine Venus in air signs. Lots of pleasant talk, very friendly. We're looking for people to share our ideas and partnerships, look to expand. And that's the trine from Libra to Aquarius. It's like coming out of Libra, you've got this trine to Aquarius. That's how relationships expand into the social sphere. So that's kind of what we'll be looking to do with our relationships with this aspect. And so it's a very good time for social interactions. In the afternoon, Mars leaves Aquarius and enters Pisces, where it will be until January the 2nd. So Mars can get a little bit restless in Pisces as the ego dissolves. It becomes very active sometimes. Aggression turns into dissatisfaction and lethargy. In Pisces, Mars is unpredictable. It acts like a chameleon. It can go from being very compassionate to aggressive very quickly. It brings some uncertainty, doubt, thinking you're low on energy even if you aren't. But I should say it's a very good placement for dancing, and I always find good Mars, Pisces, or Neptune connections for dancers. You know, Pisces rules the feet, and Mars is direction. So as you dance, your feet move in all kinds of directions, and that dissolves your direction, and that performs that very necessary Pisces function in the most enjoyable way. Dancing also makes you vulnerable, which also helps to dissolve the ego. The same applies to playing the drums. You feel connected in that way, and it's another great activity for Mars and Pisces. Basically speaking, during this time, we're using physical energy or force to connect with the non-material plane in order to increase or improve your sense of spiritual connection. And this can take many forms: dancing, drumming, yoga, to just name a few. And here are going to be the major aspects for Mars in Pisces. The Mercury square Mars is going to be the really big one at the end of this month. Okay, moving into the evening of the 15th, we've got Moon sextile Uranus. It's a very liberating aspect, especially with the Moon in Aquarius. Helps you break out of stagnant patterns. We're more self-reliant, imaginative, and display your unique qualities. Looking for changes in the home as well. as intrinsic awareness of the unique qualities of others and desire to help them. So it's a very good aspect for teaching. As well, psychic abilities are more pronounced. And then we've got a short void, of course, until the moon enters Pisces to join Mars. We're more sensitive and passive for the next couple of days. Imaginative, artistic, and reflective, and not forthright, always considering some other aspect of the situation, possibly trying to find the spiritual reasons for why things are. And we're a bit more self-sacrificing. More in tune with the subtle vibrations around you, and you may need sanctuary to get in tune with spirit. I should also say, we like to fantasize when we get into that sanctuary. And then later in the evening, a much more uplifting one, Moon conjunct Mars. This one's going to give us a burst of physical energy. Demanding, impulsive, and a bit moody, maybe feeling vulnerable because we're in Pisces now. Hard to find balance because Mars is the opposite of Libra, which is balance. Mars is in Aries. So with Mars and Moon just entering Pisces, it could bring a sudden shift of energy. Unseen issues cloud the moment, easy to absorb and then express the anger of others. You want to watch out for that because, you absorb the anger of others, and next thing you know, you're fighting battles that are not your own. So it's not a good time for social interactions. Harnessing the energy enables you to accomplish something you normally couldn't. Okay? You can really exceed because you've got more energy now. And it's so expansive that you just got to harness it. All right, moving into November the 16th, starting just after midnight, we've got the very expansive Moon square Jupiter because we got Sagittarius to Pisces. Brings an abundance of emotional energy, and in these signs, endless compassion. So the mood is generally good. Folks are warm and generous, but sometimes the energy comes off as smug or self-righteous. Others may feel put off by excessive displays like virtue signaling. These displays cover up an inner fear that something is missing in your life. We're prone to extravagance, to try and fill the emptiness, and poor financial judgment because you want to buy stuff to divert yourself. Since this is the first occurrence with Jupiter and Sagittarius, pay special attention to see how others react to you now and how you feel during this aspect. If you're still up this late, I should say, it's just after midnight. Prone to extravagance and poor financial judgment. And then Venus goes direct at 25 degrees of Libra. So it's going to be in the shadow degrees up until 10 degrees of Scorpio until December the 18th. So you might want to check out my last video before the break, Weekly Astrology Notes, September 30th through October 7th, to refresh your memory about all the things I talked about with regards to Venus going retrograde. So during that period, money issues in particular were a strong point of focus, as we needed to clear up debts during this time and not incur any new ones. More significantly, we went through a pulling away period in our social activities and a period of death rebirth with respect to some of our values. Some things no longer hold the same value they once did. As Venus goes direct, we've cleared the air on relationship issues, and now there's no holding back on creating new ones. As well, the retrograde period, including the Uranus opposition, brought up revelations about transgendered persons in society. We started learning a lot more about that, and it's going to become a very popular issue over the course of the next year, I predict. So in the last degrees of Libra, all of this month, from the 1st through the 2nd, we are diplomatic in our negotiations this month and dignified in our one-to-one interactions. Venus needs to be true to its ruling sign and display these quintessential Libra qualities. We should be working on beautifying ourselves this month, improving your appeal, improving the quality of how you relate to others on a one-to-one basis, as you may have learned some important lessons regarding this retrograde period. And then in the morning, on Friday, we've got Moon sextile Saturn. So that able to balance emotional needs with duty and responsibility. Philanthropy, because it's that sextile from Capricorn to Pisces. Emotions contract, not in a party mood, more of a quiet time. It's very good for reflection and meditation. And then on the same day that Venus goes direct, Mercury goes to retrograde at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. So it'll be going retrograde until December 7th, so that's a few weeks, and then go direct at 27 degrees of Scorpio. So it will go back down into Scorpio. Typically not a time to start new projects or begin a new journey. A time of rethinking. Brings up doubts, uncertainty, as you're not sure of your own opinion on certain matters, so it's best to hold off until the clouds pass, or until other things happen. The desire is to think big now, because Jupiter has just entered Sagittarius and Mercury is in Sagittarius, where it is in its fallen sign because it rules Gemini. And when a planet is in its fallen sign, it tends to display primitive or adolescent behavior. In this case, Mercury in Sag tends to think with their mouth open, say stuff that they shouldn't, be rather blunt, often in a self-deprecating way. So with Mercury retrograde, all the more reason to think before you speak. And of course, pay attention to the details. Mercury in Sagittarius is poor on details already, and the retrograde is going to make that kind of worse, because you really are forced to focus inwards. It's just another good reason to hold off on important decisions or starting new projects. You're going to be missing details. And things you said in the past tend to come back during the Mercury retrograde periods, especially because this one, we get the second of 3 passes of Mercury conjunct Jupiter. During this time, you are re-examining your words. The righteous Jupiter, use of your words and reflecting on how you communicate. We're being asked to re-examine our opinions and change those opinions that are not supported by the facts. Let's be thankful that the universe is giving us this retrograde period, because it's all the more important that we do this work now at the start of the new Jupiter cycle, this rethinking. We're learning once again to speak in an upright, morally conscientious manner, and this retrograde period is really driving this lesson home for us. Also, we need to reconsider the politics of the situation before moving forward. The playing field is in a state of change, and we need to listen more now. The changes coming after the midterm will necessitate waiting to form any long-range plans. Avoid coming to any conclusions before this is over. There will be a re-examination of the facts surrounding the election. The irregularities in the voting will be discovered. The real results, not the vote count, but the coming judicial actions, will not be clear until this is over, because there's going to be a lot of challenges to the vote counts. So that's what I mean by judicial actions there. Maybe that wasn't clear. Big days for Mercury retrograde are going to be the 26th with Mercury square Mars, and then Mercury conjunct Jupiter on the 27th. More about this in part 3 of this report, or I should say the 3rd quarter. And one last item, during this retrograde period, the mainstream news organizations will be the ones who will be called to the carpet regarding what they've said in the past. It's going to be a pulling away. When I say calling to the carpet, I mean maybe it won't be official and widespread. It'll be more like internally within each one of us, because it's Mercury retrograde. So we're really going to be re-examining our connection to them and noticing the lies that they say. In this way, in the way that Venus retrograde got us to pull away from social engagement for a time, this Mercury retrograde is going to do the same, cause us to pull away from our information sources and cause us to rethink the situation. They'll walk away in droves once they've realized they've been lied to about Trump and the whole Russian collusion narrative. And there was never anything but a big nothing burger. designed to topple a sitting president, and that's all very illegal. Not political, but illegal. And moving on to the late in the evening on Friday, things could get a little bit confusing. We've got Moon in Pisces squaring Mercury in Sagittarius. Emotions get mixed with intellect, hard to be rational. Might be tricked into agreeing with someone just to make peace with them, surrendering your own opinions. So it's easy to get compromised by someone. In these signs, thinking expands too much, and we're confronted with things we don't know. It brings up wishful thinking. Not a good time to make decisions. Just let your mind wander into fantasy land. That's what these aspects are all about, helping you expand beyond your mundane thought processes and get into the non-material realm. It can be very useful in expanding your mind to help you see beyond your current limitations. And you can get very critical, if you don't do this. You're critical of others, like blaming others, playing the part of the victim. Remember, Mercury retrograde turns the energy inward, and Moon in Pisces is really sensitive. So you got to be gentle with yourself and gentle with others, and not be critical. Very important point to make during these times. Because the Moon and Mercury together, people want to talk about their feelings. With Mercury and Sagittarius, it could get a little bit too loud or blunt and hurt somebody's feelings. And since it's a Friday evening, there'll probably be a lot of that, discussion of important matters. So, just be really aware of that. I think it would really help to negotiate life a lot easier. As well, I've got a strong driving caution for Friday evening. This aspect, Mercury rules driving. It's retrograde, squaring the Moon. That looks to me like a potentially dangerous situation. So preferably stay off the road. As well, remember, intoxicants have a stronger than usual effect when the Moon is in Pisces. Okay, moving along to Saturday morning, just after midnight. Another aspect that's going to make us really dreamy on Friday night, I should say, is going to be the Moon conjunct Neptune. We're more sensitive to your surroundings and the people around you, more psychic but easily deluded. And I should say, not really paying attention to the material world very much. And that's kind of another reason why we've got a strong driving caution for Friday evening. Willing to comfort someone who's feeling down, that's Pisces. Avoid negative people and places during this time, as you could absorb their energy. In a safe place aspect is a cosmic poke on your belly button. You feel connected to everyone and everything, even the cosmos. It helps you move beyond the material realm and consider the spiritual side of life and pleasant dreams. And then later, just before noon, we've got the Moon sextile Pluto. Benefits come from working with others towards a common goal, because Moon is our emotions and Pluto is collective. And we really need to work with others during these times, or at least if you're doing something alone, it should be something that's not selfish or could hurt others. That kind of a thing. Something that could potentially be for the benefit of everyone. We desire deep, meaningful encounters, nothing superficial. Strong emotions move us towards a feeling of transcendence, because it's in the fourth quadrant here. Pluto brings up powerful undercurrents that could be dangerous at other times, but the sextile enables you to deal with them constructively. It's a really good aspect for resolving emotional issues, having a good heart-to-heart talk with somebody, because people are much more committed with Pluto and much more in touch with their emotions there. So lots of healing energy as well, and we're very psychic. So it's just a really great time to rejuvenate, fix, and repair, and recommit any sort of emotional bond in your life. As well, it's good for regeneration around the home, fix, repair, and cleaning. Moving along to November the 18th, we've got the moon trine sun. And actually this is going to be late on Saturday evening, I should say, because it's just after midnight. This is a wonderful aspect, and it's one of those ones I called out at the beginning of the month. You want to pay attention to the trines and the sextiles, not just the squares and the oppositions. So these moon trine sun aspects give us lots of creative energy. With Pisces to Scorpio, it's a time of good psychological health, just like the sextiles, only now there's a creative potential that we can tap into. Notice how a trine connects two planets in the same element, but in a different modality. So in this case, we've got Scorpio, which is fixed water, to Pisces, which is mutable water. So it connects water from one modality to the next. And that's what enables us to move on from one circumstance in life to the next one. Find a smooth transition from one state of being to the next. In this way we get unstuck, the energy flows, and this releases existing potential. This water trine gives us opportunities to heal psychological wounds, resolve emotional issues, come to terms with deception and death in our lives, move them from Scorpio to Pisces, where the energy is dissolved, transmuted from one state to the next. The trine gives us a creative outlet, such as making artwork that reflects your soul, and for sharing feelings with others in a sincere, meaningful way. And then we've got a short void, of course. I should say not too short. It lasts about 8 hours until almost 8 o'clock in the evening. In the morning. And this is early Sunday morning. The moon enters Aries. So we're more headstrong for the next couple of days, have more drive and ambition, and more likely to act on impulse. Just be mindful of the rights of others. Have you noticed we're having these really great aspects on Sunday? This would be a really good time to spend with a loved one at home, possibly, because we're also having the moon trine Jupiter. And this is going to be just after noon on Sunday. Aries to Sagittarius in fire signs. It's going to light us up. Brings pleasant disposition, desire for an emotional connection to others. In fire signs, we're feeling inspired. There's lots of creative energy. A desire to incorporate some inspiring idea into your identity. And that comes from Sagittarius to Aries. That's the quality of that trine. We go from Sagittarius with some inspiring idea, and we go into Aries, and we want to incorporate that into your identity. Again, the trine allows us to move from one state to the next. Excessive emotional displays with this one. Very generous, exuberant, loud, gregarious. Good time for social occasions. This is one of those aspects that will get everyone moving. Lots of activity. And then later in the evening, we've got the moon square Saturn. This one slows us down. Emotions contract. Responsibilities slow you down. General feeling of discontent. Remedy is to stay in the present moment and not think about the future or what could be. Okay, moving along to Monday, the 19th. Starting early in the morning, the always wonderful moon trine Mercury. In this case, again, emotions connect with the mind, but it's a smooth flow. Enables us to move from one state to the next. Mentally active and very creative in the morning. Conscious thought processes flow smoothly. Good for communication and writing. In fire signs, we get some bright ideas, stuff that you want to put into action right away. And it's a good time for business. Lots of transactions. Should make things run smoothly on Monday morning. And then we've got Mars square Jupiter, the only aspect, or planetary aspect, this week. And that's going to be, where we go, 2 degrees of Pisces to 2 degrees of Sagittarius. And this will be happening exact in the late afternoon. It's a very motivational aspect. It inspires philosophical and religious fervor, art, music, and dance. This square encourages you to overcome your limitations, expand your horizons, because it's Sag to Pisces. Impulsive, possibly even accident-prone, desire to push your limits, prove what you can do. It pumps up the ego, brings lots of confidence. In Pisces, I think it's going to bring a desire to help others, real altruistic displays, lots of generosity towards others. But Mars and Pisces can change quickly, like a chameleon, and become overbearing. So it's hard, so watch out for that. Some of the really pompous, negative Jupiter traits could emerge with this one. Really loud and just thinking your opinion is the only one, and other people don't know what they're talking about, and all that very bombastic and professorial kind of energy. You know, it's like a chameleon. It could be one way or the other. Either way, it's hard to stay focused on any one thing for very long. And it makes for poor financial decisions. So be careful of overdoing it, going to excess to prove something. Avoid drugs or intoxicants, again, because it's Pisces and they have a strong effect. And mixed with Jupiter, it can produce a foolish and even dangerous behavior. Just remember your physical limitations and you should do well. This aspect is excellent for dancing. Like I talked about with Mars and Pisces, this square to Jupiter should really get people on the dance floor. Mars is direction, Pisces rules the feet, and we really need to dissolve our direction a lot tonight. So anything you can do along those lines, moving your feet in many directions, really does the trick, as well as drumming. I always like to point those two out because they are very helpful. And then later on, Monday evening, we've got Moon square Pluto. Folks are apprehensive, reserved, intense. Social interactions are challenging. Brings obsessions with an issue, sudden urges. But it forces you to deal with your emotions honestly, because Pluto is very dignified and powerful in its expression of honesty, because it's a very sincere principle. So you can become very sincere at these moments if you really want to. You're also able to isolate yourself and analyze an issue and make those internal corrections. You want to avoid emotional entanglements during this time. Don't let someone coerce you into making an emotional commitment that only works for them. Temptation to manipulate others is strong. And if you may have noticed, I'm just giving a lot more information with this particular report. I just feel kind of compelled to do that. Maybe it's the whole Jupiter and Sagittarius getting to me. Okay, so moving along to Tuesday, November the 20th. We start in the morning with Moon opposition Venus. Strong desire for an emotional connection to others. It must be a strong connection, so the effect could be good or bad. You know, that opposition, it brings some tension there, sometimes a conflict. Nonetheless, most all contact now is good because it releases some tension. As well, be careful of overeating sweets on those Moon-Venus aspects. And then in the middle of the afternoon on Tuesday, Moon conjunct Uranus in Aries now, once again. So moods change without a notice, a surprise. Ambitious, willful, desire more freedom from others now, and willing to give the same in return, but maybe not as much as usual in Aries. Feeling the need to break out of your usual patterns and try something different or unusual, restless and rebellious. And then we've got avoid, of course, a short one that begins until the moon enters Taurus later in the afternoon, where it's exalted. The passive earthy quality enables the moon to build lasting emotional bonds. So we're steadfast for the next couple days, maybe even a little stubborn. We need to find our comfort zone. And then in the evening, Moon sextile Mars. Well, this is wonderful. lots of physical energy. Whenever we have a connection between the moon and Mars, the moon is our emotional needs and Mars is direction. So you have to have an emotional need to direct yourself. Okay? You have a need to take leadership role in your own life, your own affairs. So with the sextile, we're able to do it in a non-confrontational way. You're able to take the initiative on some issue in your life, possibly a relationship or an emotional bond, something like that. You're clear about your intentions so other people really know where you stand. So you can really stand up for your emotional position during these times. Taurus to Pisces, good time for a massage or to work with crystals or healing stones. It's also a great aspect for making art, especially beautiful objects made from earth materials like stone, clay, glass, crystal, and wood. It's because that Taurus needs some physical things there. Moving along to Wednesday, November 21st, day before Thanksgiving, starting very early in the morning, Moon trine Saturn in Earth signs. So emotional satisfaction comes from focusing on mundane tasks, duties, and responsibilities. So we're very practical and down to earth, and there are opportunities for financial gains. And then in the afternoon, Moon sextile Neptune, very pleasant and peaceful, sensitive, a sensual and passive mode. Good time to nurture your spiritual connection and doing the things that strengthen that spiritual bond, sharing quality time with others. Easy to let down your guard and share your personal space with others. Good time for working with crystals and for a massage. That earth energy in Taurus mixed with that non-material plane of Pisces, it's really the perfect combination for working with crystals and healing stones. And then moving along to Thanksgiving Day, we start very early in the morning. Sun enters Sagittarius. So happy birthday to all those Sagittarians out there. It's a very special month for you this time because we got a brand new growth cycle with Jupiter in Sagittarius. So it must be very special for all of those Sagittarians. So this month we're more noble and principled, put our best foot forward, and expect others to do the same. A new growth cycle begins, this one for just 1 month. More optimistic, desire to expand your horizons, put your creative energies out into the world. More forgiving and able to move on to better circumstances. Basically, you're just trying to not let any of your good talents go to waste. And that's the noble principle right there. So, a very different feeling this year with Jupiter in Sagittarius compared to just 1 month ago. Big ideas to go along with the big appetite on Thanksgiving. And then also, in the wee hours of the morning, Moon trine Pluto. Once again in Earth signs, strong emotions rise to the surface. Deep, meaningful encounters with others. Powerful exchanges of energy between people helps everyone make a change for the better in their lives. Nothing superficial. We only want those really meaningful encounters. So greater appreciation of what you have and desire to use it properly. A serious mood. We're able to make a sincere emotional commitment and connection. Deeper awareness enables you to connect with others on a deeper level. Desire intimacy. Able to build stronger bonds with others. Sexual energy is stronger now. In Earth signs, we're very grounded. The sensual energy will feel a profound connection to Mother Earth at these times. Taurus to Capricorn, career successes and financial gains. And then we've got the only long void of course this quarter. It starts in the wee hours of the morning and it continues until 8 in the evening. So it's a nice long void of course on Thanksgiving Day. Time to relax and reflect. And then the moon enters Gemini. We're more mentally active for the next couple of days. Lots of communication, short trips around town, catching up with others, better able to solve mental problems, doing tasks with your hands, and doing 2 things at once. And then we've got the full moon, which will be at 0 degrees of Gemini. 0 degrees, 52 minutes of Gemini. So extreme highs and lows as we are riding on the energy that we have built up so far over the last 2 weeks. More intense encounters with others, prideful, looking for recognition, more attraction to your partner or potential partners. In general, there's more social activity. In Gemini, folks are talkative, restless, moving from one thing to the next quickly, more rational and more spontaneous. With Mercury retrograde, this will affect the communication, more likely to be confusing. We're tending to doubt ourselves. As mentioned earlier, tendency to say more than you should at this full moon, so be mindful of your words. Powerful meetings or confrontations with siblings could be very good or very bad. Basically, they'll just be powerful encounters because Gemini rules siblings. Both very, an expected event anyway on a family holiday. As you can imagine, since Mercury rules driving, unfortunately this aspect could cause more driving accidents. So again, we have a big driving caution, kind of stay off the road. Nonetheless, wishing you all a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. And as a reminder, I am running a special on readings this month. Please contact me in the description. And I am doing those mini readings, as I mentioned at the start of the video. For $35, you get an hour of my time. And I am requesting donations once again, and you may have noticed I'm putting a lot more energy into the moon descriptions lately. And it's a lot of time and energy. So please make a donation. And I'm thinking about going to basically a paid service every month for these very detailed reports. And that's why I'm putting so much more energy into them. I'm trying to see if people really find them of enough value to do that, and then maybe put out a more brief report for the entire month and make that public. So that's all I wanted to mention here at the end of the video. I hope folks are, thinking about. Really love to get those comments. And also, let me know if you think a report like this with the more detailed moon descriptions is worth a couple of dollars a month. Or if I get a lot of donations, maybe that would be good enough. But I really enjoy making these videos. It really is a labor of love, and I really enjoy doing it and connecting with everybody. But I honestly do need to get a little bit more with the compensation. I haven't gotten any donations for quite a while, and I do need to get some of those. If not, I'll be charging a couple of dollars a month for private videos, and I'll still put out a video once a month for the new moon. So, thanks again for viewing, liking, and sharing my video. Once again, so please leave me some comments, especially for my regular viewers. I love to get these comments, and please let me know what you think about a paid subscription of a couple of dollars per month. I will still make one public video per month on the new moon, along with videos on politics. And also, meditation videos are coming soon, and that'll be by the first of the year. This channel is truly a labor of love for me. I absolutely love making these videos and connecting with folks in a meaningful way. It benefits each of us in our personal and spiritual growth. So thank you all for participating and sharing with me. So please let me know what you think about a paid subscription of $2 per month, one with these longer moon descriptions, such as I'm starting to do this week. Or instead of leaving me a comment, you can send me a private email at mobilestar7@yahoo.com. I'd love to hear from you. So that's all for this week. Once again, thanks for viewing, liking, and sharing my video. Many blessings, and have a great day.